Rapport International, professional translation and interpretation services.
Today's question that I hear a lot is, should I use Google Translate for my website? Well, today I'm going to give you the 10 reasons why you can run into problems with that. Number one is your users can't find the plugin. So oftentimes I'll go to an English language website and I'll have to look all over for it, even though I know it's there, and I have to scroll down to the very bottom, and then in English it says Google Translate. So imagine you go to a Chinese website and you're looking for what it says and it's all in Chinese. You're never going to have the patience to find out where the Google Translate plugin is. If you want to see examples of this, go to Oregon.gov or nationalgrid.com, scroll to the very bottom, and you'll see Google Translate down there. Maybe it meets the government requirements for accessibility, but really, bottom line is, it's useless. Number two, the languages are in English. So even if a non-English speaker gets to your website, scrolls all the way down to the bottom, sees the Google Translate icon, the command says select a language. So even if they do that and drop down the languages, they're all in English. So put yourself back on that Chinese website, you're there, you get all the way down through that process and you drop the languages down and they're all in Chinese. How would you even know which one to pick out as English? So here again, the Google language plugin is useless. Number three, it isn't accurate. I took the simple statement, cut the clutter with paperless billing. I took it directly from a website. I put it into Google Translate. I asked it to translate into simplified Chinese, and then I back translated into English, and I got use paperless bills to reduce confusion. You kind of get the gist, but it's stilted and it's unclear, and that's not the communication that you want on your website. Number four, it doesn't capture the meaning. Now, I love Mazdas. I drive a Mazda. It's my second car. They're fabulous. And their tagline in Japanese is Jinbai Ite. And what that means is you're a horse warrior. You've got your bow and arrow, you're riding across the plains, you've got that flow, you've got that magical feeling. It's just a beautiful ride. Now, if you take Jinbai Ite and you put it into Google Translate, it doesn't come up with the same meaning. When I first did it, it came up with danger. Now, that's not a good slogan for a car company. Recently, when I've done it, it either comes up with no translation or it comes up with one horse. And so can you imagine Mazda using the tagline here in the US? Mazda, it's your one-horse car. Now, they were smart. They hired a professional translator and they came up with the tagline, feel alive. And that's like exactly what I have when I drive a Mazda. So make sure you use a professional translator, not Google Translate, to do your tagline. Number five, the plugin doesn't work. You'd be surprised at the number of well-known companies that have the Google Translate plugin installed on their website and it doesn't work. If you install it, test it, make sure that it works. You don't want your company looking sloppy and uncommitted to your non-English speakers. Or number six, it only partially works. So on some websites, it will pick up the text, but not the headers, the footers, and the calls to action. So this gets really sloppy and hard to read. Check out CPS Energy for an example of how this looks. It can get pretty frustrating to try to read a site like this. Number seven, it increases your risk. I've seen currency exchange companies, law firms, financial industry companies use Google Translate on their website. And in a highly regulated industry, if you make a false claim or provide inaccurate information, it can really increase your risk. It's not worth taking on the liability as a company to have bad translations. Number eight, it's not culturally appropriate. Google Translate puts in the words, but what about the colors and images? For example, last year's Sharper Image Catalog and their website had pictures of all white people. There was no people of color on those. The creators didn't think to include that, and it really alienates people on a conscious and subconscious level if they're not, if they can't relate to the audience. You need to make sure that your visuals are accurate. Number 9 is not reaching your audience. For example, a website called www.4test.com offers information about standardized tests. And one of them that they offer is the TOEFL exam, which is the exam that students from foreign countries need to take to go to university here in the United States. The website offers great information. For example, don't learn all your English by watching TV and videos. You actually need to study some of the course curriculum material so you know that language. And they also offer information about taking the test and coming here. And if parents who are paying for the test and the education can't read the information, they're not going to understand what's going on to be able to support their child or their student. So, www.4test is losing their audience because they're not providing this information. It's only in Google Translate, which is buried at the bottom of the website, which nobody's going to find. And number 10 is that Google Translate doesn't give you the warm fuzzies. When you go to a website, you want to immediately connect with it, be able to read it and understand it. You know how much content is out there these days. People are flying through to find something that really catches them and engages them. Google Translate, it's hard to read, it's hard to comprehend, and so you're not pulling the reader in. They're going to go right by it. So if you really want to target an audience and really want to speak to them, there are ways to give a much better translation. Make sure you're giving your readers the warm fuzzies when they come so they stay. Now, with all this said, there are some good uses for Google Translate. Number 1, for a good use of Google Translate is you can write love letters. If you have a loved one that speaks another language and you want to write something endearing to them, go ahead and write a love letter. Even if you get the word wrong, you're not going to offend the person. It'll give you something to laugh about. But I would not recommend fighting with Google Translate because you're already in an emotionally tense situation, and if you put the wrong word in, it could just skyrocket the emotions and leave you in a worse place. Another good reason, a second good reason for using Google Translate is you get a random email, you don't know what it says, you don't know whether it has anything to do with business. Pop it in, get the gist, and you'll know if somebody's asking you to send large sums of money to a country where you know nobody. Then you know you can delete it and move on, whereas if it has something to do with business, you can go ahead and figure out how to deal with it. And number 3, it has increased the knowledge of how important good translation is. Thanks for watching. If you have any other questions or feedback, be sure to let me know. Thanks. Bye.
If you found this video helpful, please share it, leave a comment, and subscribe. If you like hearing fun language and culture facts and goofs, use the link below to subscribe to our bi-monthly Tidbit newsletter. And of course, visit our website for more information or to schedule a free translation assessment.